Welcome to BBVA Compass Stadium here in Houston, Texas. It's the Houston Dash and Portland Thorns. 2 weeks after a Dash win in Portland, the Thorns come to the Bayou City. Welcome to the broadcast booth. Alongside Jen Cooper, I am Matt Peterson. Jen, what a day of soccer we have. Barcelona won their 4th Champions League in 10 years. Tonight, it's the Dash and the Thorns. And just a moment ago, Canada opened the 7th Women's World Cup.
Yeah, they eked out a 1-0 win, penalty kick call late, very late in the game. But as you and I were talking, it was a fair call, and Christine Sinclair converted that to get Canada up 1-0. But back to tonight, Portland versus Dash. Speaking of Christine Sinclair, a very tight match between these teams 2 weeks ago, and now Portland, having been winless in 5, they're ready for a result tonight.
Over 53,000 fans at Edmonton in a 1-0 Canada win to open the World Cup. The break starts tomorrow in the NWSL, but the Dash trying to roll into that break with some momentum as they look to extend their unbeaten streak to 4. Let's take a look at a productive road trip. 4 points on the road starting in Portland 2 weeks ago. Kaylee Ohai, a good shake and bike left-footed cross. Jessica McDonald, a strong finish against her former team, her 4th goal of the year. We've seen that combination earlier this year.
What a potent combination for the Dash. And then Bianca Henninger standing on her head that game. I think the Dash only had 4 shots total on the game, but they made 1 count. And then Sky Blue, again, coming back from being down on the road at Sky Blue. Second time they've done this season after giving up a goal on a set piece, of course. They come back after also missing a penalty kick to tie it 1-1 late in the game.
Yeah, Allie Bailey, great story from San Diego, played at Texas A&M. She becomes the first amateur player in NWSL history to score, and it wasn't just a junk goal. It was the equalizer on the road, so congratulations to Allie Bailey. Meanwhile, the Thorns, they are winless in their last 5, but looking to end their little snafu here tonight.
Yeah, and they haven't been out of any of their games. I mean, all of the last 3 losses have been by 1 goal, and then 2 ties before that. So they're in all the games. And then when you look at the history between these 2 teams, all 4 games, 1-0 games. All 3 went to Portland last season. The first one went to Houston this season. This is going to be a very tight match.
We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll have players to watch and starting lineup. It's the Houston Dash and the Portland Thorns moments away here in the NWSL.
Customer, you have the chance to show your true colors every time you open your wallet.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
Presenting Dynamo Banking, featuring debit and credit card options that can help you reach your goals. Open your account today at any of our 80 locations in Houston or online at bbvacompass.com/dynamo. Team works in soccer and in banking.
BHP Billiton is a leading global resources company with mining and oil and gas interests worldwide. Our reputation is built on proven performance, helping provide the energy that keeps the world moving, cities growing, communities thriving. And we combine this innovative spirit with a commitment to sustainability, developing natural resources with responsibility and integrity, today and for years to come. BHP Billiton, resourcing the future.
He's taking the world by storm. Grammy-nominated Ed Sheeran, live in concert. BBVA Compass Stadium, September 3rd, with special guest Christina Perri. Tickets on sale now at bbvacompassstadium.com, axs.com, or by phone. The #1 selling album, Multiply, is in stores and online now. There's more at edsheeran.com. Produced by AEG Live and the Messina Group.
Learn soccer the Dynamo way and start your path to the pros. The Houston Dynamo offer youth programs for every age and skill level, from a challenging introduction to soccer to intensive competition training and opportunities to play for the Dynamo Academy.
This is Ricardo Clark of the Houston Dynamo. The Dynamo youth programs offer the professional environment required to develop your game and prepare you for success.
To find out more or to register for Dynamo youth programs, visit HoustonDynamo.com.
Welcome back to BBVA Compass Stadium, just moments away from kickoff. Let's get right to our players to watch, Jen, beginning with the Equatorial Guinea native, Ayo. She has come onto the scene this season for the Portland Thorns. 3 games, she finally got her first goal at Washington last week.
She is going to be a very potent scoring threat for the Thorns, and it was very smart of Paul Riley to sign her knowing that she wouldn't be at the Women's World Cup. Equatorial Guinea made their first Women's World Cup last time around 2011. She scored the only 2 goals for the team, both against Australia. More impressively, however, she was the first foreigner to lead the scoring table in the Frauen Bundesliga with Turbine Potsdam. I think that's huge. She's going to be the player to watch tonight, of course.
A former African Women's Player of the Year in 2012. One to watch for the Thorns. Now for the Houston Dash, it's their goalkeeper, Bianca Henninger. NWSL Player of the Week 2 weeks ago after her performance at Portland. She also kept the Dash in the game last week at Sky Blue, Jen.
She has had such a great month of May, kind of coming off of some not great performances in April, but we were talking to Randy yesterday, and he said he feels that she could be a starting keeper on any team in this league.
And now to our starting lineups.
Oh, wait, let's get a little bit more Bianca.
Might as well.
Two amazing games. I mean, she could have gotten a Player of the Week for last week as well. And she played in the 2010 Under-20 Women's World Cup in Germany, got the Golden Gloves.
Santa Clara products. Now the starting lineups for Paul Riley. Ayo stands out. Of course, Rachel Van Hollebeck just missed the World Cup team. And then 2 stand out for me, Mana Shim and Ali Long, excuse me.
Yeah, they are the engine of this team. As long as one of them scores, Portland has never lost.
And now the starting lineups for Randy Waldrum and the Houston Dash. A couple of changes, beginning with the back. Camila comes in, 20-year-old Brazilian, makes her Dash debut. And of note in that moment, Nikki Cross shifts to the midfield.
Going to be a very interesting match to watch. We know Camila's had a little problem adjusting to the heat because Brazil, it's winter right now, but I feel like all the moves Randy has been making has just kept strengthening that defense.
All right, we are now just moments away from kickoff. The Houston Dash and Portland Thorns will keep it right here. Ahead of this one, you see the captains meeting at midfield. Ella Masser talking with our referee tonight. You have some background on the referee, Jen.
Yeah, she has 2 Masters of Science, 1 in marine biology, 1 in marine policy. Center referee, Danielle Chesky.
Our assistant referees, Veronica Perez and Francisco Bermudez, and our 4th official, Krista Dorsey. 5th all-time meeting tonight. And the Dash had their first ever win against Portland 2 weeks ago at Providence Park. Over 14,000 fans in the Rose City.
Such an exciting match to watch. I think for the first time we saw the Dash shut down a game. You know, they were not the dominant team. They were not the better team on the night, but they did what they had to do. They got the job done.
A big one in the NWSL tonight. With the win, the Dash can climb as high as 3rd, and Portland trying to get right back into the playoff picture. They have been one of the big teams in the NWSL for the first 2 seasons.
Right, we've got 2 other NWSL matches underway right now, and if you're waiting to watch those, I won't give away the scores, though they could impact the standings. Dash could jump as high as 3rd place tonight as long as Boston does not win. So you've got Western New York hosting Chicago right now. Washington is hosting Boston Breakers. And later on, we'll see Seattle versus Sky Blue. With FC Kansas City, they've got the bye week. And then after tonight, Matt, mandatory 2-week break for the league while the Women's World Cup first round play continues. Kicked off tonight, 5 o'clock. We got to see Canada take on China, as we mentioned earlier. Very tight match. Canada just getting that win with a very fair PK call late in the game. Christine Sinclair, very professional, taking that, slotting it just through where the keeper couldn't get it. So Canada wins their home opener, wins the World Cup opener, and in about a half an hour, you've got Netherlands facing New Zealand. Netherlands, their first time in the Women's World Cup.
The U.S., of course, starts their World Cup bid on Monday, but we are focused on the Houston Dash and the Portland Thorns tonight.
And that's one of the things I asked Randy yesterday is, like, how is all the Women's World Cup hoopla affecting the players, if it is? And I think they're just riding the energy of it. And especially they'll have a break so they can enjoy it, root for their teammates, because we've got the Dash has teams on Canada and USA. Some teams like Portland have players on as many as 5 Women's World Cup squads.
We are underway from BBVA Compass Stadium. The Portland Thorns in their black uniforms, the Dash in their home orange kits. Warm nights here at BBVA Compass Stadium. A game here last night, the Houston Dynamo defeating the New York Red Bulls 4-2, and a Dash will try to make it 2 for 2 for the home teams at the stadium. But the field's a bit chewed up. A couple of concerts here a few weeks ago, then of course the storming and flooding in all of Texas the last few weeks. So the sod still gaining its place, but should play pretty well. They watered it quite a bit before the game, Jen, so it should be slick enough as Brittany Bach is in possession here in the first minute. The Dash and the Thorns. Toni Presley wide left. Camila, one of her first touches, and turns it over.
It's been interesting to see the signings since the Women's World Cup rosters were finalized, a little bit ago, that once you knew who wasn't going to Canada, you could pick some players to sign. So that's why, Randy signed Ellie Brush, who missed making the Australia roster, and Camila, who has been part of the younger Brazil squads but has not really made an impact on the senior squad yet.
Camila got into town early Wednesday morning. Wasn't a sure thing she would start. As you see, a nice cut there from McCall Zerboni, 28-year-olds, born in Camarillo, California, went to San Clemente High School. But we'll see how she does in this heat. As you said, Jen, winter time in Brazil, but definitely some pedigree. A veteran of the U20 World Cup, and she was signed for a reason.
Well, and we could see the cooling breaks in play tonight. We haven't got the official heads up yet, though, from the referee, but the league rule is if the heat index is 89 an hour before the match, there will be cooling breaks. And so it's not that the temperature is 89, but that the combination of heat and humidity is 89. So if there are cooling breaks, it'd be at the middle of each half. They don't start it until a ball has gone out so that they're not interrupting play. And they don't stop the clock. They just add it on at the time. We only saw one last season. Of course, the rule wasn't in effect until pretty late in the season.
The flag comes up on Io. So a Dash restart. That was our near side referee, Veronica Perez. Jen, I think there's a very good chance we do have a cooling break. Right now it's 88 degrees in Houston, Texas, but humidity at 56%. So the feels like temperature is 93, and we are already nearly 3 minutes into this match. So the scheduled cooling break would be 30th minute and 75th, about 3 minutes long. And I don't think it would help the home side. You would think help the visitors, but both teams get the break. Both teams get to cool off. Here's Io, 26-year-old, former African Woman Player of the Year. Well-weighted ball over the top, and just a miss settle by Ali Long. She gives the acknowledgement to her new teammates, but a good ball over the top from Io.
It's important to point out, Matt, though, that the decision is made an hour out. So say if it were cool enough now to not warrant cooling breaks, it wouldn't matter because it's whatever it was at 6:30. So given what it is now, we'll very likely see cooling breaks.
Kaylee Ohio unable to keep it in. One of a few Dash players who had to deal with some bronchitis this week. There was a little bit of a bug going around the team, but she is fit to start tonight.
And she's one of just 3 Dash players this season that has played every single match, along with Jessica McDonald and Nikki Cross. They've played in all 7 matches so far, this being match number 8.
Good passing from the Thorns, but in the end, Taylor Kumo, the 21-year-old former Cal Golden Bear, Her ball towards the middle was cut down by Tony Presley. Just underway with Jen Cooper. I'm Matt Peterson. 5th minute from BBVA Compass Stadium. Thrown in by Van Hollebeck. Henderson does enough, pushing it back to Ellie Brush. You see Jessica McDonald's chasing at the top. Tied for 3rd in the NWSL with 11 goals last year and traded to the Houston Dash on draft day this year. And she already has 4 goals, including a big one, the game winner at Providence Park 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, McDonald is currently tied for 3rd on the league scoring list. You've got Crystal Dunn with Washington Spirit has 6. Of course, she could have more tonight. Sophia Huerta with Chicago with 5, and then several players with 4.
Michelle Betos clears from her penalty area. 27-year-old New York native, played at University of Georgia. She was part of that Sidney LaRue trade in the 2013-14 offseason involving Betos. But getting starts during this World Cup period. A lot of contact. Bach goes down. Knocked over by Ali Long, but the Dash deal with it at the back. Presley dealing with the danger of Io, and then Henninger out wide to Ella Masser. Back to Zerboni. McCall Zerboni keeps it on the floor. Anna Shim was a Dash player for less than a week at the outside of the franchise. Good balance there. Tiffany McCarty bursting forward, trying to connect with McDonald. And one at the back by Kat Williamson. Here's Van Hollebeck. Trying to find the feet of Io. And now Bach fouled this time. It's been a rough 6 or 7 minutes early on. She's taken a lot of contact that time from Sinead Farley, 25-year-old Pennsylvania native. As we take a look at it, just an extended arm that time from Sinead Farley. Free kick to the Dash right at midfield. And Tony Presley will restart this. Her 4th consecutive start since her trade from Western New York on May 11th. Ella Masser, first-time service, flicked on by Bach, top of the box. And pushed away by Kat Williamson. McDonald will battle. Now it's Emily Menges. Not her best effort, and it's a Dash throw-in. Catch Dash Soccer in HD all season long on Root Sports Southwest, the official home of Dash Soccer and Houston Dynamo Soccer. Root Sports Southwest. Masser set to throw it in. She'll get another one. Our first game we've seen Masser not wearing the protective bandage cushion that protects her thumb.
I thought that became part of her uniform. You know, I thought that was required gear for her, but I guess not. Because she was color coordinated. Like one half she would have orange and one half she would have blue.
She'd mix it up. Another throw in for the converted forward. Forward last year with the Dash, but with so much injury and expectation of World Cup call-ups, Randy Waldrum brought Masser to the back. Now our first corner kick tonight. Alyssa Henderson to take this one, traded from FC Kansas City to the Dash last year to reunite with her former college coach, Randy Waldrum. Tiffany McCarty is nearby. We'll see what Henderson does with this. Low service, near post, and it's put high and wide. Decent chance that time from Ellie Brush. Would have taken a great effort from a tight angle, but the Australian breaking free. As we take a look at the replay, Henderson low, design play, and she just could not keep it down, but a good warning shot from the Dash here in the 9th minute at BBVA Compass Stadium. Michelle Betos, long NWSL career, previously with Seattle, New York Fury. This is her 4th game tonight, her 3rd start. Now it's Io trying to get on the end of it. Here comes Camila. Wins a Dash throw-in. 10th minute, 20-year-old Brazilian Camila signed on May 20th, didn't arrive till early Wednesday due to visa issues, which you expect from a foreign player. Good footwork there from Nikki Cross towards the corner, trying to find Tiffany McCarty. And Hollaback back to Betos, and a clean clearance from the goalkeeper. Presley back in the mix, but the offside flag comes up. I believe it was McDonald or perhaps Ojai on the far side who came from an offside position. And the Thorns with the restart.
So subs for tonight, I don't think we got a chance to mention them. Thorns have several amateurs on the bench, as do the Dash. Come back to that.
Switching ball, far side. Kat Williamson against Elamasser. Sinead Farley, top of the box. Possibilities here for the Thorns, but a saving tackle last moment. Looked like Ellie Brush did just enough. Desperate defending there in the end for the Dash. Here comes Melissa Henderson. Good ball, but just a bit long for Kaylee Ojai. We like that combination. We saw it a few weeks ago in Chicago on the counterattack. Henderson putting in Kaylee Ojai.
And you know Kaylee has wheels, but not quite that fast. So subs for the Thorns tonight, they've got Hannah Terry, Kate Bennett, Sarah Jackson, Emily Kruger, and is it Kelly Minogue from Texas A&M, just up the road. For Dash on the bench, you've got her A&M teammate Allie Bailey.
Here's Ojai through the middle, deflected. McCarty trying to settle, and then she wins it back. McCarty into the box, still alive, and cleared in the end by Zerboni.
And to finish out the Dash subs, along with Allie Bailey, you have Jordan Jackson, Jen LaPont, Cami Privet, Jasmine Avant, Megan Kinneman, and Rachel Axon.
Restarted by Williamson, a McKinney, Texas native up near Dallas. Ojai trying to turn against Menges. Menges does well. Mana Shim, Hawaii native. And it's out for a Dash throw-in. Another throw-in for Elamasser, goes to the feet of Henderson. Inward Bach. Bach can't connect with McDonald. Another throw-in to the Thorns. Slow start for both teams. 13 minutes gone. It's the Dash and the Thorns. A win would move Portland on to 11 points. A Dash would go all the way to 12 points. Ayo does well, win the ball against Ellie Brush. Ayo is in. And a good block. That was Tony Presley against Ayo. Helping out her center back partner, Ellie Brush, who had lost it. Great anticipation. Long leg slide from Tony Presley, the former Florida State Seminole. Now a corner kick for the Thorns, Allie Long to take. Looping service towards the middle, headed away by McDonald's. Ayo very confident, tries her luck. First time, high and past Bianca Henninger.
Interesting that Ayo came pretty close to being at the Women's World Cup this summer. I was a little surprised when Equatorial Guinea didn't make it, especially considering that Africa had a third slot. But in the next to last round of qualifying for Africa, they ended up tying with Ivory Coast 3-3 on aggregate, but Ivory Coast had the away goal tiebreaker. So they didn't even get to go, Equatorial Guinea didn't get to go to the final tournament. I think if they had, they would have finished in the top 3. But their loss, of course, is Portland's gain, and so she's available for the entire summer.
It's an expanded World Cup field this year, the 7th Women's World Cup, but still tough competition in certain places to get in. We saw how close Randy Waldrum and Trinidad and Tobago were.
Yeah, 0-0 at Ecuador. It was Ecuador-Trinidad that last playoff, and then Ecuador winning 1-0 in stoppage time in Port of Spain last December. A heartbreaker for the women's soccer warriors. But also exciting for Ecuador. That's their first Women's World Cup.
Io forward, Long in the box. What a take, but it's high and wide. Good effort from Ali Long, and now we see more distribution from Io. The highlight reel we ran in the pregame, Jen, it was mostly her scoring, but this was a wonderful pass from the 26-year-old from Equatorial Guinea. And then Long, who has been a real danger man for the Thorns this year. 4 goals, 2 assists in 7 games.
And it was Ali Long who scored the first NWSL goal at BBVA Stadium. Last year, inaugural game for the Dash was Dash versus Portland. She scored the goal to make it 1-0 for the Thorns.
One of the best chances for either team, 15 minutes in. That was Long from Io. Camila, good skill to spin. And it rolls out for a Dash throw-in. Defended on this near side by Taylor Kumo. Re-won by the Thorns. Long, wide right. Sinead Farley, good defending. Toni Presley continues her impressive first half. Going to a slide to take it away from Farley. Back to Presley. On the ground, Camila. She likes to get high. We've seen that early on in the first 17 minutes. And you have live updates on the possibility of cooling breaks, huh, Jen?
Yeah, there will be no cooling breaks tonight. So the temperature plus humidity an hour before kick did not put it in the danger range. So no cooling breaks tonight. And I think we can vouch for that. How the game has started. Camilla looks okay, and we're not really sweating up here in the broadcast booth. That's always a good sign.
There seems to be a bit of a breeze, which is nice. Not always the case in the Bayou City. As Camila gains a throw-in. 3 starts for Brazil at the U20 World Cup. Had an assist. Her last club, Ferro Villaria in Brazil. Before that, Kinderman. A lot of throw-ins, Jen, first 17 minutes. Not a lot of flow to this game. Many on the far side with Elamasser, now Camila getting in the mix. But we'd love to see the ball stay in play a bit longer and these teams maintain possession.
Well, we had a long chat with Randy Waldrum yesterday about, kind of breaking down Portland and whether they were going to do a 4-4-2 or they're more like 3-6-1 kind of setup, and how much they can clog that midfield and what the Dash needs to do to break it down. And maybe this start and stop is the outcome of working against that.
Very heavy touch at the back that time for Menges. She gets a bit lucky as the Thorns retain possession. Zerboni. Kat Williamson. Io. Another very confident take, well wide, and it's a goal kick. She doesn't lack for confidence, Io, the former African Football Player of the Year in 2012. Spent the last 6 years in Germany. 32 caps, 18 goals for Equatorial Guinea. But we've seen her try shots from distance already in the first 19 minutes of this one.
Her confidence is definitely building after scoring that first goal against the Spirit last week. It always takes some adjustment coming to NWSL. It's a much more physical league, tends to be a faster league than most of the European leagues.
Speaking of that physicality, good battle early on between Taylor Kumo of Portland and Camila. Camila very skilled on the ball, likes to turn, but Kumo not making it very easy for her. So already the Brazilian understanding the physicality in this league and McDonald goes down. Free kick to the dash just shy of midfield.
And she's not the first Brazilian that the dash has seen. Of course, we had Rafael Souza last season, who actually made the Brazil roster for the Women's World Cup. And the dash would have seen Hosanna and Poliana, but it ended up they being called into residency for Brazil. So that makes Camilla just the second Brazilian to play for the dash.
Ojai against Menges. Back to Masser. Good service towards the back post, but good defending. Just enough against Jess McDonald. That was veteran Rachel Van Hollebeck. Just sort of kept her body in between the ball and McDonald and didn't allow the 6-foot forward a clear path to it.
Bueller's one of the originally allocated players for the Thorns. They put 3 U.S. national teamers on each team. Of course, the Flash only got 2.
Io right through the middle, but nobody there for the Thorns. And McCarty will clean it up on this near side. The closest was Mana Shim. She made a run towards the near post. She was just outside the 6-yard box. That was driven right through a goal area. Now it's Shim, forward long, cleared by Presley. And cross all the way out towards Bach. And again out for another throw. And neither team really maintaining possession for extended periods. It's been sort of a scrappy first 21 minutes.
And I'm wondering how much the pitch might be affecting that, knowing the problems we've had with this field with the floods from about 10 days ago, and the new field coming in after the concerts at BBVA. And it got a pretty rough beating last night in the Dynamo 4-2 win over the Red Bulls.
Lost by Bach. Here comes Farley. Wide right, Taylor Kumo. Good ball. And a miss hit that time. Good opportunity for Farley, but the Thorns retain possession before Ojai works all the way back to the penalty area to win it. Now the dash try to break. Henderson to her left. McDonald to her right. 3 versus 3. Here's Ojai. Still Kaylee Ojai. Good ball. Onside is McDonald. Driven towards the back post, but just a bit in front. Melissa Henderson. Great counterattack. It was Ojai who won it. Way back near her own penalty area, and about a 70-yard run from the second-year forward out of North Carolina. And then McDonald flanked right, Henderson to the left. Classic 3 versus 3. And in the end, maybe a bit too much on the ball from McDonald, and Henderson a little late arriving. Best chance of the night so far for the dash. It comes midway through this first half. Cross settling, a different position for her tonight. Playing in a defensive midfield role, higher up than her first part of the season where she's been a center back. Masser with the service and good claim from Michelle Betos. No rebound with McDonald nearby. Now the game coming to life a bit. Here's Mana Shim turning right at the center circle, eyeing Io over the top. She'll run it down, pulls out Masser. Support arriving from 4 Thorns. Allie Long, top of the box, trying to make her way through. A touch from Cross. And an easy save. Bianca Henninger diving to her left against Sinead Farley. So one good attack for the dash, followed by one promising effort for the Portland Thorns. Van Hollebeck will watch it out. Part of the 2011 Women's World Cup team and the 2012 Olympic team. 113 caps for the U.S., but one of the final cuts for this 2014 Women's World Cup.
Yeah, she'd really been struggling with injuries over the last year, and with such defensive depth and the breakout performance of Julie Johnston at the Algarve Cup, it's not a surprise that she was cut.
Bach with Ojai. Better from the dash here. Ella Masser under pressure. Spinning away from Kendall Johnson. And she wins a throw-in.
So the 2 other NWSL games are done. The ones that started at 6 o'clock Central. Boston tied Washington. So a dash win tonight does put them in 3rd place. Meanwhile, Western New York topped Chicago 3-1, so the unbeaten team has now been beaten.
Well, good news for the Dash and the Thorns, chasing those teams in the standings as Bach wins the ball but cannot find Ojai. Ayo back to Monashim. Now it's Taylor Kumo on the near side. McCall's Zerboni. Wide right. This is Ayo. 1 versus 2. Camila, good aggressive defending. And she wins the ball. Nice showing from Camila. Now she's tripped up from behind by Ayo. Free kick to the Dash. That was good. Ayo has been confident throughout this night. We watched the replay. And before that, she just saw an opening, dove in, and then kind of a cynical challenge from Ayo. No chance of getting it, but prevented any chance of a counterattack. And Jen, going back to those standings, so Washington will move to 14 points, Boston to 11 with that draw.
Kansas City, who didn't play this weekend, they're still sitting on 10.
Service from the left from Kat Williamson. Ayo against Presley. Brush away to cross and out towards midfield. 26th minute, scoreless game. McCarty wins it on this near side in front of Kumo. McCarty, good thought there, but she could not get it over the top of Kat Williamson as he tried to clip it in behind for Kaylee Ojai. Jen, we spoke with Randy Waldrum yesterday as Ayo gets in behind. Flag is down. Ayo's in. Ayo in on goal, and she pulls it just wide. Ayo beat the offside line, got in behind Ellie Brush. Had a lot of goal to choose from, but went just past the far post as Henninger did well to seal off the near post. That touch got just a bit away from her, but she recovered well for a left-footed take.
Good placement by Bianca to cover that near post, forced her to shoot wide, and thankfully it went very wide.
She has been the most dangerous Thorns player through the first half hour. Ayo, in her 4th appearance in the NWSL, got her first goal last week at Washington in a 2-1 losing effort, but one to watch the rest of tonight's. Here's Monashim. Good purposeful play forward, puts it in for Ayo. She tried to beat that line once again. This time the flag comes up. It was a crafty run from Ayo. She sort of bent it in behind, but the flag comes up from our near side official, Veronica Perez.
When the Dash played at Portland, Ayo was playing out wide, and tonight she's more up top. And that's one of the things that Randy Waldrum had said he would see trouble from is, she was wide enough 2 weeks ago that they can kind of shut her down, and it's going to be a much more difficult job tonight.
Yeah, on that afternoon or evening in Portland, it was Jackson up top for the Thorns, Ayo on the right, Johnson on the left. We'll see how the Dash manage the rest of this half, Jen. Another thing that Waldrum told us, I asked him about how you manage the heat and how much you press and how much you try to take it to the Thorns. He said it would be 5 and 10 minute intervals. Sometimes they would go, sometimes they would back off. It would sort of depend on the flow of the game. It seems like the last few minutes Dash have been sitting back a little bit, but now Portland content to give the Dash some space, but not an all-out either way for Randy Waldrum's team. Long against Presley.
And he was probably happy to hear that there was no cooling breaks because he felt that it did give an advantage to the away team and does break up the momentum.
Bresch gets there first. She'll win a goal kick as Ayo thought she would be offside. The flag stayed down. Then she re-accelerated her run. Goal kick, Bianca Henninger. Thorns FC, they outshot the Dash 18-4 2 weeks ago, but that early goal for Jess McDonald was the difference as the Dash got their first ever goal and first win all time against Portland. Good settle at the back by Emily Menges. Presley steps in front. Presley for McDonald's, but just a little too much on it. And it's Betos off her line to clear. Allie Long wins the second ball past Camila. Camila in retreat. Long is in, but another good play from Toni Presley. Just stood her ground, calm defending, and made her challenge at the right time against Long. 1 versus 1. Now McCarty knocked over. A lot of contact from Van Hollebeck. Free kick to the dash.
And some of you may remember that Van Hollebeck's maiden name is Bueller, and they used to call her the Buelldozer, and clearly our player was just Buelldozed there.
The Buelldozer, that's a good one. And how many Buellers did you say played at Stanford or went to Stanford?
Not played at Stanford, but her family is so into the Cardinal that 27, including her 27 Buellers, have gone to Stanford. I think Stanford should sponsor these broadcasts, or at least any broadcast that she's on.
Taking a whole new meaning to keeping it in the family tree.
And this league has seen a lot of great standouts from Stanford. Of course, Kristen Press before she went off for Women's World Cup duty. The Dash had Teresa Noyola last season.
Kendall Johnson forward trying to find Mana Shim. And Brush watches it out for a goal kick.
And then there's some old retired player who went to Stanford. Julie something. Julie Foudy. You're supposed to fill in the blank there, Matt.
I was leaving it for you. I think it was a few broadcasts ago where it was a trivia I got wrong, so I'm not jumping the gun. It's still early, 32nd minute of a scoreless game. Strong header that time from Farley. Io again, this time beats the offside trap. So feels like if the Thorns are going to get a first half goal, it's going to come from Io. She has been dangerous all night. Good, strong win from the Buelldozer. Now it's Allie Long staying onside. She is in. What a save. Left foot. Bianca Henninger against Allie Long. And the Thorns again come close but can't find the back of the net. They very well could have 2 or 3 early on. Great ball from Shim. Long. Great run. And then Henninger kept her feet tight. And then used that left foot to make the save. So it's that great combination. Randy Waldrum called them the engine room for the Thorns, Shim and Long. And now here's Long again. Henninger closes the space well. Long puts it over. But the last 5 or 10 minutes, Jen Cooper, it has been one-way traffic from Portland.
And a lot of it's from Allie Long.
Yeah, it seemed early on like Brush and Presley were doing a good job, but beginning with those runs in the last 5 or 10 minutes from Io, it has really taken the center backs out of the place and out of the way, and the central midfielders, Long and Shim, have taken the space. So I think Randy Waldrum would be happy just to get to halftime, the way things are going right now as the Thorns regain possession once again.
Well, we had mentioned in the pregame that, in all of Portland Thorns history, if Allie Long or Mana Shim scores, the team does not lose. And I also think it's important to note Allie Long, because of her play in the NWSL, she did finally get her first and then second cap with the U.S. national team last summer. She is the only field player to get her first cap under Jill Ellis.
They are hard to come by, and now even harder for the next few months with the World Cup underway from Canada. A late win. They left it late in Edmonton, but in stoppage time, Christine Sinclair, cool finish, just kissed off the post. A Chinese goalkeeper really guessed the right way, might have made a save if it was not as far as it could be, but a little bit of Canadian luck for the hosts. And now Camila trying to wrestle down Taylor Kumo. In the end she does, and she's going to be shown a yellow card. This has been the point of confrontation right in front of that Dash bench. Taylor Kumo and Camila battling throughout tonight, and our first booking comes in the 34th minute. I think a pretty good call. She knew what she was doing. She grabbed her around the shoulder.
Would you call that a professional foul, Matt?
Professional, tactical, cynical, whatever you want to describe it. Depends maybe if you're a fan, which team you're rooting for. But the Thorns will restart. Set pieces have been a danger for the Dash all season.
And I do want to mention with that yellow card, I need to correct something that I said last game. It's not 4 yellow cards that makes you serve a 1-game suspension. In NWSL, it's 5. And I'd mentioned that Ella had 4 last year, had to sit out. No, she had 4. She did not need to sit out. So just correcting that. Ella's sitting on 2, and I think Camilla, that now makes 4 players sitting on 1, so we're far away from somebody having to sit out for yellow, especially when it's a shorter season this year with just 20 games instead of 24.
Very similar to the game against Chicago a few weeks back, Jen. A slow start going forward for the Dash. They did break through from the penalty spot as Ojai was taken down, and the penalty was converted by Axon.
So calmly and cleanly with no kind of fancy build-up, just boom. And then last week, they earned a penalty kick. Rachel actually earned the penalty kick, and because of that, felt
it was
uncomfortable
long, but
taking
the flag comes up. Excuse me, Jen. Long was in, but a nerve-wracking sequence in this game for Randy Waldrum and the Houston Dash. What another outstanding ball from Mana Shim. She has been playmaker tonight, threading the ball for long. About 5 minutes ago when Henninger made the save that time, the flag came up. But I think the place to watch right now is Brittany Bach and Nikki Cross, the central midfielders for the Dash, and how they're keeping track of these attacking midfielders, Ali Long and Mana Shim. First 20 minutes or so they did okay, but lately they've been breaking through. And it almost seems like Io's just wearing out the center backs Brush and Presley and creating a lot of space, but maybe some adjustment for Randy Waldrum. You may see him add another central midfielder for the second half, because it's been all through the middle for the Portland Thorns in this first half.
Yeah, talking to Randy yesterday, it was interesting that he seemed the least sure of his lineup for the first time in a long time. Just, it all depended on what he thought Portland would do and what Portland would line up as. So it'll be interesting to see the adjustments at the half. I also like seeing Bach in a more attacking role. We saw her get pretty far up and almost have some shots on goal in previous games. So there's a lot of potential attack in that. And with all the trades they've made and acquisitions to acquire more depth in the back, now you can actually spare Brittany to move forward.
And they're at the back. We'll also see how Io holds up. She has been running tirelessly in this half as the Dash are offside. But on a 88-degree night with humidity here in Houston, we'll see how it holds up. Again, she beats the offside line. She is in. Io, good recovering tackle from Ella Masser, who goes down clutching at her right ankle. She made the play, but she may have hurt herself in the process as the training staff for the Dash enters the field. A good recovery from Ella Masser against Io, who has gotten in behind now 5 or 6 times. Christy Chavez, the head athletic trainer for the Dash, checking out that left ankle for Ella Masser. And she's being helped back to her feet. Keep up with Keeper Notes to stay in touch with all the latest women's soccer news on Facebook, Twitter, and at keepernotes.com. You better keep her notes. Jen, any guests tomorrow? Any preview of the show?
We're going to have Daryl Lovell come on, talk a lot about Dynamo New York. Also have Dwayne Capodice to give us a legal update on everything that's happening with FIFA. And then, of course, we're going to have to talk about tonight and talk about the Women's World Cup.
10 to 11, Yahoo Sports Radio 1560. A good show. If you're in the car on a Sunday morning, tune in.
And we always put the podcast up on Monday if you don't get a chance to hear us on Sunday.
Short corner kick. Good block at the top of the box by Cross. Then a really good strike and even better save. Taylor Kumo from about 35 yards out Henninger eyed it all the way. A leaping save towards the upper corner. And what a strike on the half volley. She could not have hit it any better. Taylor Kumo looking for her first goal this year. That was sensational. And a one-handed save from Henninger.
Too bad NWSL doesn't have Save of the Week like MLS. You know, Tyler Derrick's gotten all that Save of the Week love, and I think Bianca needs to get that same attention.
Now another chance, this one driven on the ground by Kumo. And another throw-in. So the Thorns have dominated the last 10 or 15 minutes of this game, but nothing to show for it. Deflected cross. Did Henninger keep it out? She did. So nice work from the Dash goalkeeper to prevent a corner kick after the cross from Sinead Farley was deflected nearly out for a corner. Now Henninger, good booming punt. Strong in the air is Kat Williamson for the Thorns. Now it's Io in behind again, but the offside flag comes up. Very simple formula for Portland Thorns FC. They get it to their central midfielders, and then they try to slip it in behind for Io. Camila on this left side. Haven't seen her on the ball in a little while. Shim comes over to help, and it's a Dash throw-in. 5 minutes to halftime here in Houston. No score. Thorns the better of chances. Henninger has come up big a few times. Now Camila gives it away right to the feet of Io. And Io, look at this! Audacious effort, 50 yards out. Henninger is maybe 8 yards off her line. When she wound up, I thought she was maybe going to clip it over the top for Ali Long, but a NWSL newcomer tried to chip Henninger from 50 yards out. Farley out wide here. Kumo harassed by Henderson. A free kick to the Thorns right in front of Paul Riley, the Thorns head coach. He has to be pleased with what he's seen. Probably surprised Thorns aren't in front with all their chances in this first 45 minutes. And Hollebeck will restart. She was allocated to Portland ahead of the inaugural 2013 NWSL season. Flicked on by Io. Good, strong challenge by Masser. She had to get it right on the inside of the air against Kendall Johnson. Now the Dash try to break once again. Ojai, inward Bach, wide left Camila. Henderson, good touch to keep it alive. McDonald's trying to bounce off Williamson. Great recovery by Kat Williamson. McDonald's a good touch, and then she tried to break past Williamson, but a good sliding challenge from the Texas native.
Kat Williamson was the first ever draft pick for Portland Thorns, then traded away, then traded back.
And you see that a lot in this league. It's almost like seller's remorse. Player traded, and the coach realizes maybe they weren't as expendable as they thought, so they make a huge effort to bring them back.
I think it's more musical chairs. There's so few spots that, you know, when one player goes down, like the Dash losing Stephanie Oakes, it means you have to reshuffle everything because you just don't have large enough rosters to be able to say, oh, now this backup player can actually fill in that spot. You don't have that backup player.
Waldron was hopeful if Paul Riley and the Thorns went with a 3-6-1, as they've been known for this season, that 3 versus 3, his attacking 3 would have a good day. As very hard challenge, Brittany Bach, that time against Kendall Johnson, and Johnson is down. And quickly running over is Kat Williamson to assess. But good news as Johnson rolls over. As Bach was going to win the header, it was shoulder of Brittany Bach. May have caught the right side of the head of Kendall Johnson, but very tough display from the 24-year-old Portland, Oregon native. As she gets right back onto her feet. And they did give a yellow card to Brittany Bach. So Bach in the book. And a restart for the Thorns. And the Dash, of course, have been very susceptible to set pieces, including at Sky Blue last week, a corner kick.
Right.
Was the only goal conceded by Randy Waldrom's team. Here it comes. Low service, dealt with by Masser. Regained by Long, but Camila wins it. Possible break here. Might be 3 versus 2. Runs need to stay onside. Camila has McCarty. McCarty is in. Ohai to her right. McCarty keeps it alive. 3 to pick from. McCarty deflected, and it's pushed wide by Jessica McDonald.
McCarty did so much great work there.
The initial shot from McCarty, I think, came off the face of the goalkeeper, Michelle Betos, and it bounced right to McDonald, who could have taken a touch. She tried first time with her left against her former team. She pulled it wide. It was basically a 4-against-1 for Dash players against Rachel Van Hollebeck and the goalkeeper Betos, and now a player down looks like Camila, who started that counterattack. But boy, I don't know how this game is scoreless. Portland could have 2 or 3 goals. That should have been a goal for the Houston Dash.
Nice run by Camila. You can see that, even Brazilians that play defense have that attacking mindset. We saw that from Rafael Souza. I'm sure we would have seen that from Poliana as well. Just she knew where to place that ball for Tiffany to run onto it. And great job by Tiff. There were 3 on her, and then suddenly it's just her and the keeper.
Camila is back onto her feet. I'm sure one McDonald wants back. Really the entire goal to shoot toward. Van Hollebeck was there, but she's a defender.
And I didn't get to finish talking about the PK from last week, but that's, Rachel Axon had earned the PK, felt uncomfortable taking it. McDonald stepped up. PK was saved.
2 minutes of time will be added on here at BBVA Compass Stadium. We've already seen 90 seconds pass as Camila will be allowed to rejoin the action in a moment. But somehow this is a scoreless game. Maybe the fairest of scores after all things considered. An easy miss on one side for McDonald after several very good chances for the Thorns on the other end. But we'll see if we might have a late goal here. Monashim turning, targeting Io. Io in the corner against Nikki Cross. Here's Io with a step over. Good ball towards the top of the box. Ayin Shim beyond her. Picked up by Kendall Johnson. Shot from the left side and cleared by Ohai. Referee checks her watch. She'll allow play to continue as Van Hollebeck towards the corner. There is our halftime whistle. So a little bit of everything in that half. Thorns the better team. They had the better chances, but against the run of play, the Dash nearly go ahead. Great save by Michelle Betos, who took it off her forehead from Tiffany McCarty, and then a big miss from Jessica McDonald against her former team. Halftime at BBVA Compass Stadium. It's the Houston Dash 0 and the Portland Thorns 0. Stay with us. We will have a lot on our halftime show, a look at the Women's World Cup and more. Halftime in Houston is scoreless.
As a BBVA Compass customer, you have the chance to show your true colors every time you open your wallet.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
Presenting Dynamo Banking, featuring debit and credit card options that can help you reach your goals. Open your account today at any of our 80 locations in Houston or online at bbvacompass.com/dynamo. Team works in soccer and in banking.
From the first time the ball hit the back of the net, we could feel a sport on the rise. Our passion burning, our tradition building, our city united. Amongst a sea of orange, we are the home field advantage. We began, we will remain, forever orange, forever one.
Pioneering ways to protect neurons and give ALS patients more time. Personalizing drug treatments to treat the most aggressive breast cancer. Performing multi-organ transplants to fight the most complex illnesses. Creating options for patients who thought they had none. That's the difference between practicing medicine and leading it. Houston Methodist, leading medicine.
Welcome back to BBVA Compass Stadium, NWSL action on a Saturday night. Our halftime score at BBVA Compass Stadium, it's the Houston Dash 0 and the Portland Thorns 0. Welcome to the broadcast booth with Jen Cooper. I'm Matt Peterson. A really helter-skelter half there. Chances on both sides. Let's get right to the highlights, Jen.
Lots of action for both teams. Of course, Bianca having to make more of the saves.
Here's an early chance for Io, and a good block from Nikki Presley. Io, a warning and an omen for later in the half. Then here's Io slipping in Allie Long, and she pulls it high and wide. And now here's Kalia Ohai, out wide right, Jessica McDonald's. Good service on the 3 versus 3 counterattack, too far in front of Henderson. Then good footwork from Allie Long. Wide lefts, and an easy save for Bianca Henninger. And then clipped over the top, Io is in. Io maybe her best chance, that touch sort of got away from her, but still a good chance to score, but she pulled it wide. And then Long is in. Bianca stayed big, and a big save from Henninger. And then maybe the save of the half. What a take from Taylor Kumo. Settled it. Great technique on the half volley. She got all of it. But Henninger stayed with it and tipped it over the bar. And then counterattack. Great ball from Camila in her debut. McCarty was in. She stayed on her feet after a hard challenge. Slipped in off the face of Betos. And then McDonald won. She will walk back. Had time. Tried it first touch. And she pulled it wide. So somehow, some way, scoreless at the end of the first half. Jen, any thoughts on the first 45 minutes?
Well, like you were saying earlier, surprised that there hadn't been a goal in this game yet. But, you know, Bianca Henninger coming up big for the 3rd game in a row for the Dash. And the Dash just unlucky on the other end. They not having nearly the amount of shots that Portland is, but that last one should have been a goal.
Now let's take a look at these stats from the first 45 minutes. And 8 shots for the Thorns, 3 for the Dash. A replay of what happened 2 weeks ago at Providence Park, where it was an 18-4 advantage after full time. 3 corner kicks for Portland, and just 5 fouls from each team.
And we saw 2 yellow cards in this first half, both for the Dash. For Camilla, welcome to NWSL. There's your yellow card, and Brittany Bach as well.
We will take a break. When we come back, lots to get to. As we resume on halftime, a look at the opening day in the Women's World Cup and a new addition to FIFA 16. Yeah, that's the video game. Halftime in Houston, the Dash 0, the Portland Thorns 0.
As a BBVA Compass customer, you have the chance to show your true colors every time you open your wallet.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
Presenting Dynamo Banking, featuring debit and credit card options that can help you reach your goals. Open your account today at any of our 80 locations in Houston or online at bbvacompass.com/dynamo. Team works in soccer and in banking.
This summer, the best lacrosse players in the world will face off in a Lone Star State showdown. BBVA Compass Stadium will be the place to see the stars of Major League Lacrosse go head-to-head in the 2015 All-Star Game. Game time is 6 p.m. Central on June 13th. Tickets are on sale now. Go to MajorLeagueLacrosse.com for more information.
From the first time the ball hit the back of the net, we could feel a sport on the rise. Our passion burning, our tradition building, our city united. Amongst a sea of orange, we are the home field advantage. We began, we will remain, forever orange, forever one.
Learn soccer the Dynamo way and start your path to the pros. The Houston Dynamo offer youth programs for every age and skill level, from a challenging introduction to soccer to intensive competition training and opportunities to play for the Dynamo Academy.
This is Ricardo Clark of the Houston Dynamo. The Dynamo youth programs offer the professional environment required to develop your game and prepare you for success.
To find out more or to register for Dynamo youth programs, visit HoustonDynamo.com.
Welcome back to BBVA Compass Stadium, halftime in the Bayou City. And a look at the Women's World Cup scoreboard. Jen, 53,000 fans, and they went home happy.
Yeah, home opener, and they're not gone yet. They've got game number 2 in Edmonton, but Canada opened the 2015 Women's World Cup 1-0 game with a very late goal on a penalty. Christine Sinclair finishing. That means she is rising up in the all-time scoring list for Canada. What a way for Canada to start that tournament. A 0-0 was not going to make them happy, not going to make either team happy, but that's a great foot for them to get off on. Meanwhile, you've got Netherlands, New Zealand. That's the second game. They're almost at halftime. Netherlands just went up a goal. I've said it before, this is my most interesting group to watch because each of these games could go any way. But coming up, we've got Monday, USA. We know that's what most people are interested in. They kick off their World Cup campaign against Australia in Winnipeg. 24-team tournament, Jen, and the U.S. in one of the most difficult groups, Australia on the 8th, Nigeria on June 12th, and then Sweden on June 16th. As you can see on the screen, more resources ever dedicated. Every game is live on a legitimate channel. Very exciting for soccer fans for the next month. And we've just been seeing more and more coverage of this. You know, it's been a couple of World Cups for the games to be live, but for more and more than to be on regular broadcast channels, to have streaming options, and all the wraparound coverage that goes with it as well. I mean, the set that they have in Vancouver, the announcers that they brought in, like anyone who's ever played in a Women's World Cup at a high level, if they're retired now, it seems like Fox has brought them in. And we're seeing coverage in places that we normally wouldn't see coverage. We've got Carly Lloyd from The Dash on the cover of Howler magazine. Great Women's World Cup coverage in here. You know, Sports Illustrated, lots of other magazines. It's just been great to watch.
I think the Visitors Bureau for Vancouver and all of British Columbia should pay Fox that set they have right there on the water. It's an advertisement. It makes you want to go visit Vancouver tomorrow.
Right. And then they could just leave the set there, and you could, rent out the set for a very, very expensive fee, like later, after the World Cup.
Absolutely. Well, moving on from the World Cup, a tie-in in some ways, the very popular FIFA game, FIFA 16, will now feature women's national teams.
Right. The FIFA game the next one that gets issued will include 12 women's national teams. 11 of those 12s are in the Women's World Cup. The only team included, Italy. They're not the ones in the Women's World Cup, but you've got Canada, USA, of course, Germany, England, Sweden. And this is not something they did just because hey, wouldn't this be nice to do this for women? They said this is the most requested feature that they've had for this game over the last couple of years, that there are more and more women that are playing games like this, and it's not the stereotype, but it is the fact. And it's great to see this, to just raise the level of the game exposure.
8 Portland Thorns in the Women's World Cup, 6 Houston Dash players, 3 Canadians, and 3 Americans. Well, Jen, we have one more break, then we come back. We'll be ready for the second half. What are you hoping to see from the Dash in the next 45 minutes?
Long story short, we need a goal, and they need to hold Portland scoreless.
And I think if you're Paul Riley and the Portland Thorns, you'll be a little bit disappointed. Excellent effort, excellent execution, but yet to beat Bianca Henninger. We'll take our last break. When we come back, second half here in Houston. It's the Dash and the Thorns scoreless at halftime.
As a BBVA Compass customer, you have the chance to show your true colors every time you open your wallet.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
Presenting Dynamo Banking, featuring debit and credit card options that can help you reach your goals. Open your account today at any of our 80 locations in Houston or online at bbvacompass.com/dynamo. Team works in soccer and in banking.
BHP Billiton is a leading global resources company with mining and oil and gas interests worldwide. Our reputation is built on proven performance, helping provide the energy that keeps the world moving, cities growing, communities thriving. And we combine this innovative spirit with a commitment to sustainability, developing natural resources with responsibility and integrity, today and for years to come. BHP Billiton, resourcing the future.
He's taking the world by storm. Grammy-nominated Ed Sheeran, live in concert. BBVA Compass Stadium, September 3rd, with special guest Christina Perri. Tickets on sale now at bbvacompassstadium.com, axs.com, or by phone. The #1 selling album, Multiply, is in stores and online now. There's more at edsheeran.com. Produced by AEG Live and the Messina Group.
Welcome back to BBVA Compass Stadium after 45 minutes between the Houston Dash and the Portland Thorns, their second meeting in 2 weeks. And it's a scoreless after 45 minutes. With Jen Cooper, I'm Matt Peterson. We talked about the Women's World Cup, and with that comes watch parties.
Of course, and there's going to be a lot of them. The Dash is hosting watch parties for all USA games and Canada games, since you've got 3 players on each squad at the Phoenix on Westheimer. So if you're anywhere near Houston, come join the Dash, and I'll be at most of these as well, and I bet you will too, Matt. Monday we've got USA versus Australia. Then we've got USA versus Nigeria on Friday, USA Sweden on Friday the 12th, USA Nigeria to finish the group on the 16th. And then you have Canada also playing New Zealand and Netherlands. So going to be great to watch those, especially with a big group.
Should be a great time, and another advantage to a Western Hemisphere World Cup, ideal broadcast times. Much like Brazil last year, most of these kickoffs should be during your awake hours.
Yeah, this is the first Women's World Cup to be back in North America since 2003, and I think that's a big reason for the increased exposure. Not just that we've seen more coverage of the game since 2011, 2012, but also so much of this is in prime time.
Well, the team's back on the field. You see Ella Masser there. The Dash in their home orange uniforms, the Thorns in their black tops, black shorts and socks with a lot of white across the front. We'll see if there's any changes for either team. Nothing looks imminent, but we'll see how Randy Waldrum addresses that center midfield. As it was a very active half for Monashim, Ali Long, and Io. Rachel Axiani warmed up. The lone substitute off the bench, along with Carly Williams. Thorns, nothing looking imminent. I'm sure very pleased. First 45 minutes for Paul Riley and the Thorns. Back underway in the second half. McCarty flicking it backward towards Presley. And now Io serving. Good ball, Long arriving, but a strong header from Masser. Settled here by Farley, edge of the box. Farley towards the middle. Masser, good work. Initially the header, then that clearance. Masser everywhere here in the first minute in the second half. There's McCall Zerboni. Good ball against the grain. Shim from distance and a good save. Bianca Henninger, that was a good ball initially from McCall Zerboni. And then Shim, who has mostly been provider in the first half, trying her own luck here early in the seconds. For Zerboni, it's her 23rd consecutive regular season start. Service from Io. Long goes down at the top of the box. More contact from Ella Masser. Those two have had 3 or 4 duels here in the first 90 seconds of this half. Long getting forward. And now here comes Farley into the area. Just enough of a touch from Cross. But more of the same, Jen. 2 minutes into this half. Portland back on the front foot. They are not waiting around here in the early going.
And McCall Zerboni leading the way. One of the things that Randy Waldrum said about her yesterday is the most underrated player he felt in NWSL. Solid for Western New York, solid for Portland. You mentioned the streak, and she was someone who was even captain of New York squad in the season between WPS and NWSL when some of the teams played in WPSL Elite. So an important acquisition for Portland, knowing that they were going to be losing so many starters during the Women's World Cup.
Meanwhile, Jess McDonald slow to her feet, but looks to be doing okay. And now she'll stay on the field. Maybe an ankle issue. As we see the fall for Jess McDonald. Maybe landed awkwardly. Yeah, it's painful. She landed on top of the foot of Emily Menges. So lucky she didn't roll her ankle more, but she is still walking gingerly in your picture. Now it's Io. Challenged by Brush. Ali Long waiting for runners. Back to Io. And she'll win a corner kick. So Long, as this game has worn along, has had more and more influence, especially in the second half. Masser's done a great job on her in the early going, but good combination there between Io and Ali Long. Now the service from Long. And a header at the back post is wide. A few bodies down around the penalty spot. Goal kick to the Dash. Now is McDonald and Bach in there defensively. Zerboni forward, won by McCarty. No changes for either team at halftime. Kaylee Ojai on the left, cutting. Good move from Ojai. 1 versus 2 towards the corner. And then good defending in the end. It's won by Farley, and she had some help from Rachel Van Hollebeck. So Canada has a few days off, Jen. They'll next play New Zealand on June 11th. That's a Thursday, I believe. And then they end their group play against New Zealand on the 15th.
Netherlands on the 15th?
Oh, yeah.
That's a confusing thing about
China
this group.
plays
You've got
New
2 C teams and 2 N teams.
Now Masser draws a foul from Kendall Johnson. Masser slow to her feet. As we see another replay, shoulder to shoulder, Masser goes down. Free kick to the dash. They haven't had too many in these advanced positions, but Ojai will take this one. We saw Henderson take a few corners in that first half, but Ojai will stand over it. We saw them working on set pieces from just about this distance in practice on Friday. Two-man wall for the Thorns. Now it becomes one. Ojai ready to deliver. Here it comes. Flicked on by Brush. A chance here. Loose ball in the box. Picked up by McCarty. Did she get a corner kick? And she cannot. Well, a possibility there for Toni Presley. She collided with the Portland goalkeeper Michelle Betos, who was down behind the play as the service came from Ojai. Flicked on Ellie Brush. And then Presley could not get her head onto it. And good brave goalkeeping from Michelle Betos. And Betos behind the play, warming up, gives the thumbs up towards her head coach, Paul Riley, and she'll be able to stay in this game.
Yeah, Betos has been a backup not only to Nadi Nangara for the Thorns, but also for Hope Solo first season for Seattle Reign.
Not the best goal kick, though, from Betos, and it's going to roll out for a Thorns throw-in. Tomorrow at the Women's World Cup, that's Sunday, Norway against Thailand and Germany against Ivory Coast. That's in Group B.
And both of those are on Fox. It's not Fox Sports 1 or Fox Sports 2, just Fox.
So good exposure. A lot of the Women's World Cup games 4 years ago were tape delayed or not shown at all, but all games live. Good strength from Bach, slips it to McCarty, but she does not see Zerboni coming. Dash regained possession. We'll see how Bach holds up tonight, Jen. She played 90 minutes in Portland, big achievement. 45 against Chicago prior to that, 83 last Sunday at Sky Blue in the heat. So she can go 90 minutes, but that was in the cool climates of the Pacific Northwest.
She's also in a different role tonight. She's not back defensive mid. She's much more of an attacking mid in this scenario.
Something to keep an eye on, Jen. It looks like Henderson and McCarty are pinching in more centrally, perhaps to help. We'll keep an eye on it. There's a good burst from Taylor Kumo. And she cuts inside on Presley. Kumo, top of the box towards Long. And again, it's Ella Masser putting out the fire. Masser has had a very good 8 minutes in this second half. Really just staying with Allie Long and doing her best to keep Long on 4 goals for the season.
Ella really could have been co-player of the week with Bianca for that game at Portland.
It slips to Henderson. She's onside. She goes down, and the Dash gain a penalty. It came seemingly from nowhere. McDonald tried to settle it. It slipped through, and then Melissa Henderson pinching in from the far side gathered it. Yeah, too much contact. Emily Menges against Melissa Henderson. Good timing from Henderson. Now a big decision. Who will take this penalty?
That's what I was going to ask you. We've seen different players take it, and we've seen several Dash players historically miss it, but this looks like it's Kalia stepping up.
It makes sense to me. It's something I've been asking. Why can't she take penalties? She has the skill. She's been in big stages before. So after Axon and McDonald, Ojai will try to give the Dash a 1-0 lead here at home. Betos to try to keep it away. Ojai to try to deliver a Houston lead. It's Kalia Ojai, and it's blocked. Michelle Betos guessed the right way. And it's still level 0-0 here in the second half. Second glorious chance of that night. The Dash have not taken advantage of late in the first half. McDonald a few yards in front of goal. Now nearly a turnover from the Dash and a late whistle. Perhaps a handball on Nikki Cross, but a penalty taking woes continue for Houston. Axon converted hers here against Chicago a few weeks ago, but McDonald's went to that same side against Sky Blue last week. Brittany Cameron guessed the right way. And tonight, it's Betos making the big stop for Portland.
And that means of the now eight penalty kicks for the Dash all time, only 3 have been converted. Teresa Noyola has converted 2 last season and Rachel Axon earlier this season.
And Hollebeck, high lofted service and a good claim by Henninger. I think it's a difficult position, Jen, for a head coach. You don't want to make too much of a big deal about it, work on it ad nauseum in practice, because then it might take the confidence away from your team if they know that you're thinking about it a lot, but at the same time, you can't completely ignore it. I know they probably worked on it in practice this week, but
that was one of the questions I had for Randy was, is it a spur-of-the-moment decision of who takes it, or is it a game plan? And he said, no, it's a game plan, and one of the reasons Rachel didn't want to take it last week after having been someone to convert a penalty kick was that she had earned the penalty, felt uncomfortable having been fouled to step up and take it.
Well, now Ojai a chance for redemption, running at the back line of Menges. Ojai nearly in. McCarty picks it up. McCarty pulls it well wide, but they called a foul just prior. Ojai running up the back of Emily Menges, and a foul on Ojai. Well, the game opening up, I think a positive for the Dash now in the second half. They're finding those gaps behind the 6 Portland midfielders, and McCarty's pinching in. I think they're putting more bodies in the middle, as we saw Henderson more central, McCarty definitely more central than in the first half, and the Dash are breaking well.
And this is without either team making a sub.
Well, it looks like one might be forthcoming very soon for Portland, as some instructions being given by a member of the technical staff. Io serving, Brush just enough to keep it from getting to Allie Long. Io battling, Brush will concede the throw-in.
I feel Brush has been very, very consistent, in this match. A relatively new pickup for the Dash from the Westfield W League. That's the Australian Women's League. She won the championship there twice with Canberra United, including last December with Stephanie Oakes on that team, as well as Chantel Jones, who also in the NWSL. Short in stature, but we hear she has some serious hops.
Yeah, and Randy said she reads the game well. All the attributes you usually give to a center back that maybe doesn't have overpowering athleticism or size. They obviously made it this far for a reason if they're an undersized center back. Throw in Portland, far side, Kumo to take it. And it's a Dash goal kick. Well, we're going to have our first change of the night. Entering the game is Hannah Terry. So Terry will enter this game. It's her 3rd appearance this season, 21 minutes before tonight. And exiting Taylor Kumo, who probably feels she should have had her first goal this season. Kumo, that amazing half volley from about 35 yards out there was blocked by Henninger, who palmed it over the bar. First change of the night from Paul O'Reilly, 60th minute change. Hannah Terry on for Taylor Kumo. Hannah Terry played at Northeastern. Now it's Mana Shim trying to thread it for Io, but down on the same page, just a bit in front.
And this is Hannah Terry's third appearance for Portland this season. We're in such an interesting phase for the league and the season, where you're seeing amateurs step up and get an opportunity, much like Allie Bailey getting that goal for the Dash to equalize against Sky Blue last week, but also for your contract players who may be subs but get to be starters.
Good ball, wide right. And a good challenge from Tony Presley, negating Hannah Terry, who tried to slip it through for Io. And the Dash have their own sub forthcoming. Rachel Axon about to come on. Good ball from Bach, targeting Ojai, but the flag comes up on this near side. It's one of the first times we've seen Bach play distributor. A good ball, and the crowd doesn't like the call. So Bach, that's her final act in this one. She goes 61 minutes in the Houston Heat and gives way to Rachel Axon. So Bach, her third straight start since coming back from a 15-month recovery from a torn ACL. More positive steps for Brittany Bach. Seventh appearance this season for Axon. First time off the bench. She has a goal, that penalty against Chicago. 29-year-old from London, played at Oregon State.
And when Randy Waldrum saw the video of her playing in Norway that a colleague sent, he remembered playing against her, coaching Notre Dame against her. He's like, I remember that player. I want that player. Much like we were talking to Randy Waldrum about Allie Bailey, and he also mentioned that he had tried recruiting her for Notre Dame, but she ultimately chose Texas A&M.
And now it's Io trying to break through. That ball came from Allie Long. Io has definitely been a handful for the Dash tonight, but yet to score. Long settling against McCarty. Axon, her first touch, and she's immediately tripped by Long, who does not like the call. Free kick Dash. 63rd minute. This game could be 2-2, Jen. A missed penalty from the Dash. A good chance for McCarty. Great save by Betos, who used her forehead to keep it out. And then McDonald, a huge miss with basically an empty net in front of her. And meanwhile, the Thorns, chance after chance. Io, Long, Shim, and of course, Kumo from distance. Big restart, bouncing in the area. And a handball, I believe, on Kaylee Ojai as she tried to settle that. And a restart for the Thorns.
All four matches between these two clubs have finished 1-0, and I would say, other than the one in Portland last year, they've all been really close matches.
As you see it hit the hand of Ojai. Now, low-scoring affairs. 4 total games, 4 goals. And no goals yet in this one.
And thinking about the misses from this game reminds me of that inaugural match last April. Dash was down 1-0, had a chance to equalize. I think it was maybe 89th, 90th, 91st minute. Becky Edwards got a header goal, but they ruled that she was offside. And it would have been such an amazing inaugural night moment.
Now McCarty is taken down. We might see another booking here, and the card comes out. So the substitute, Hannah Terry, into the game for just a few minutes, and she is cautioned by the referee, Danielle Chesky, and the Dash set to make their second substitution in quick order. Jen LaPond about to come on.
She's been a great story. Saw some time at practice with Seattle and Boston. A couple times made the 18, never got on the field. spent all of preseason with the Dash and even got a start a few games ago. It's been pretty solid back there.
Yeah, and this was kind of the plan all along. I don't think Randy Waldrum in any way, shape, or form expected Camila to go 90 minutes. He was hoping maybe 45, but get 65 minutes from the Brazilian in her debut. And then LaPont, a very attack-minded outside back, comes into this game. So the script is going to plan for Randy Waldrum, albeit still a tie game.
I think in his script he probably had that PK converted.
Now Io trying to beat the two center backs. But Brush does well, pushing it back to Henninger. LaPont made her NWSL debut against Chicago here a few weeks ago. 2 starts, including 1 at Portland. So she was part of the group that got the clean sheet at Providence Park. Did not play last week at Sky Blue. Dash seemingly getting a little bit more direct here in the second half. That was from Masser in her own half forward towards Ojai. And it definitely seems as if the outside midfielders are pinching in more in the second half, Jam, with Henderson and McCarty on the outsides helping out Cross and now Axon. Cross forward. Zerboni back to settle it. 24 appearances, 23 starts last year with Western New York for Zerboni. Now an early service from Kendall Johnson. And it's going to be a goal kick for the Dash. Johnson had a big game against the Dash a few weeks ago. Brought a lot of width to that game, but...
And I know Bianca knows her well because they played together in the 2010 Under-20 Women's World Cup in Germany. All these players, they all have some connection to each other, especially when these rosters are so small.
Yeah, 9 teams, 20 players per roster, plus amateurs. So it's a pool of about 180. And Johnson traded from Sky Blue to the Thorns in January.
And Johnson's another one of the NWSL players to spend some off-season time down under. She was part of the Western Sydney Wanderers squad.
Good composure there from Tony Presley. Under pressure from Io. Thorns now pressing higher up the field with the help of the substitutes. Io against Jen LaPont. Mana Shim. Good back heel from Shim. Farley wide left. Here's Kendall Johnson. Clearing header from Cross. Now an injury behind the play. Maybe Kat Williams. That is Williamson being helped to her feet and a sub possibly forthcoming. Don't miss the Dash take on Western New York Flash Saturday, June 20th at 7:30 right here at BBVA Compass Stadium. Tickets on sale now. Log on to houston-soccer.com today.
Also looks like Melissa Henderson is asking for a little medical attention. Has a little bit of a limp.
Looks like Kat Williamson will be able to stay in this game. She is stretching it out next to Van Hollebeck, but started all 22 games in 2013 as a rookie. And last year, 21 games, Western New York. This is her 8th start. So she has started just about every single game she was available in her 3 years as a pro.
And the very first draft pick for Portland Thorns in that 2013 draft, then traded away, then traded back.
So I don't think Henderson will be able to stay in this game. She is walking off under the help of Christy Chavez. Allie Bailey coming over. So for the moment, A Houston Dash are down a man. Bailey getting some final instructions from the coaching staff of Houston. Johnson unable to keep it in. And in front of the sharp-dressed head coach, Paul Riley. McDonald's lost it to Johnson. 71st minute. This game seems destined to have a goal. It would be the ultimate irony, a scoreless night with all the chances for both teams. A missed penalty from Kaylee Ohai. Close range effort put wide by McDonald as Brush is called for a sliding foul. And then a lot of golden chances for the Thorns. They have not been able to beat Bianca Henninger.
Well, for a while in the games earlier tonight, it looked like they were both going to finish 0-0. They went pretty far into the match, and then New York ended up 3-1 over Chicago, being the first to defeat Chicago this season. And Washington and Boston tied 1-1 in Maryland. Seattle Sky Blue is now underway in Seattle.
Masser called for a foul. Kendall Johnson getting more and more active in the second half. And a free kick for Portland here in the 72nd minute. Maybe Masser called for getting that right leg in. Yeah, pretty good call. She got it right on the right upper shin. And Kendall Johnson. It'll be a two-man wall for the Dash, Masser and McCarty. And now we'll see the change. Bailey comes on, replacing Melissa Henderson, who left with an injury a few moments ago. So Allie Bailey, first ever amateur player to score in the NWSL. San Diego native, played at Texas A&M, and a big equalizing goal last week at Sky Blue. She comes off the bench again here tonight, looking for a possible winning goal. Bailey for Henderson. Now it's Allie Long, set for the set piece on the ground, well read by Masser. She almost knew it was coming from what it looked like. Masser read it really well. Back to Allie Long. And now the offside flag comes up. So maybe some good film study there, Jen. We saw Masser sort of lurking, crouched over, ready to pounce, and then Long played it on the ground. It's a set piece you see quite a bit in soccer. From a wide area, trying to play it through the middle to an on-rushing attacker.
That would definitely be something that the FIFA Technical Study Group would want for their archives. Well, and Allie's part of that Texas A&M squad last fall that made it further than any Aggie squad ever has in NCAA soccer. For the first time, getting past that Elite Eight. They've been knocking on that door for a long time. Finally got to the Final Four, and a lot of her classmates that graduated with her got drafted into the NWSL.
Masser down, ref lets them play. Here comes Long, running at Ellie Brush. Allie Long. And too far past the far post. Waldrum talking about Bailey this week said she used to be more direct when she was a high school prospect out of San Diego. Now more technical, can play with her back to goal, more efficient around the penalty area, and she has more ways to score. Another foul on Houston, Portland with a free kick. Previously more of just a wide player, he says, but she still has a nose for goal and finding the right spot, picks her spots well. As she did, a perfect illustration of that on Sunday in New Jersey, her equalizing goal. A lot of touches in this half for Allie Long. Dash won it here. Ohio unable to settle, and it's a Thorns throw-in with Emily Menges. Long once again. Good defending by Cross, forces her backward. Johnson forward, deflected by Brush. And it's going to be Bianca Henninger to stall a bit and then pick it up in front of her new left back, Jen LaPont. LaPont came on for Camila, who went about 65 minutes in her debut. Allie Bailey on for Henderson. So one sub remaining for Randy Waldrum in the dash. McDonald looks towards the bench. I think she's going to give this the long throw. Instead, she goes back. Ella Masser. Masser will serve. That's a good ball and a good claim. The offside flag came up, but Michelle Beto, she's been very steady tonight. And a good catch from the Thorns goalkeeper on a play that would have been offside. Now it's Hannah Terry, the second half substitute, inward towards Mana Shim. Good composure from Shim. After a good first touch, slips it forward. Sinead Farley lost it as she tried to turn to her left. McCarty keeps it alive. Now a possibility here for the dash. Axon wide right. Allie Bailey, one of her first touches, running at Menges. Bailey, a little bit off with her pass towards McDonald. Ball kept in by Kendall Johnson. 77th minute, scoreless game from Houston. The best chances of the night came in the first half, but the dash, a penalty kick in the second half. Kalia Ojai went to her left. Michelle Betos dove the same way. Good strong save from the 27-year-old New York native. Now it slips out to Ali Long in a dangerous spot. Running at the back line. Slipping it through for Ayo, but the flag comes up. Good tight line from the Houston Dash at the back. Ayo has been a handful. I think she's tired a little bit, Jen, from her reckless abandon in that first half, but still good pace, and that time judged to be offside.
And even though we didn't have quite the heat index to require a cooling break, it's still pretty warm. We know that this Dash team trained really hard this week, and this is probably the first week of severe hot weather for Houston, and you can see it on the players a little bit.
After a month of rain and flooding throughout Texas, the heat has come. Mostly sunny this week. 82 degrees at the moment. Humidity at 71%. Feels like 88 here past 9 o'clock in the Bayou City. Mana Shim. Allie Long, ball towards the corner. Kendall Johnson able to keep it in, but the flag is up once again. So time after time in this second half, the Dash putting the Thorns in an offside position. Most of the time Ayo, that time it was Johnson after a pretty good switching ball from Allie Long.
I read a great story about Ayo that, from the age of 5, she was on the sidelines watching men's football with her dad and saying, I want to do that. That's what I want to do. And as we often hear from some countries, her mother didn't want that to happen, but eventually she made it happen. I think it's so impressive to come from a country like Equatorial Guinea and actually succeed in Germany and now possibly the U.S.
Long run from Nikki Cross, but in the end, just too many Thorns at the back. I believe it was Kat Williamson who made the play in the end, the Texas native. Now Hannah Terry, second half substitute, inward for Ayo. It goes back out. Driven service, good clearance from Ellie Brush.
Yeah, Iowa talked about how hard Germany was at first because she didn't speak German or English. And still, I don't believe she speaks English. But what I love about soccer, or rather football, is international language. You can see she doesn't have to speak the language to speak to her tournament, to her teammates in football.
I'm going to run there. You play it there. I will score. Now a bad giveaway from Axon. Allie Long picks it up. Long for Ayo. The flag stays down. Ayo is in, and she puts it on the wrong side of the net. Well, to the naked eye, I think the ref may have got that one wrong. Ayo looked offside, but the flag stayed down. Axon back-to-back poor giveaways first on a switching ball, then she turned it over. And Io on that curling run may have been kept onside by Brush. But another time tonight, I think Io should have done better there. One-on-one with the goalie, does not hit the target. And the dash escape with a clean sheet intact. You have to love the confidence in a striker as McDonald flicks it towards Bailey. Now Bailey against Kat Williamson, slips it in. McDonald, heavy touch. Yeah, she grabs that ankle again. No chance of a second penalty in the same half. And the training staff will come on to see McDonald. Remember earlier, Jen, she landed awkwardly on the top of the foot of Taylor Kumo. That's a good ball from Bailey. Would have taken a perfect touch from Jess McDonald with Rachel Van Hollebeck pinching him. And McDonald down, receiving some treatment. But I was beginning to say, you have to love the confidence in Io. She's been offside 4 or 5 times tonight, but she knows this is how she's going to score. If she beats that offside trap once, she'll score the big goal. But
that's what happened against Washington Spirit last week, and both of her goals in the Women's World Cup against Australia 2011 were poacher goals like that. Nothing wrong with that. Goal's a goal. Once it goes in the back of the net, you're happy to have it.
McDonald receiving treatment, the right ankle from Christy Chavez, the head athletic trainer, and a hard challenge from Rachel Van Hollebeck. Yeah, and the dash could have had a penalty shout there. I think that's a lot of contact from Rachel Van Hollebeck. I don't think McDonald helped herself with the heavy touch, but by the letter of the law, Van Hollebeck stepped on McDonald in the box. Very difficult to get 2 penalties in a game, let alone 1 half, but look at that replay, it's very...
I think a lot of people don't remember, as much as they remember that great USA-Brazil game in the 2011 Women's World Cup, they kind of forget that the U.S. was playing down most of that match because Rachel Buehler, now Van Hollebeck, had a play similar to that. She got an automatic red card, and Brazil got a PK.
Yeah, it's one of those where the referee may say her touch was so long, there's no way she's going to get to it. We're not going to bail her out with a penalty, but strong challenge, Van Hollebeck. And as we were talking about the possible penalty, Mana Shim was subbed off. Sarah Jackson comes on. So Jackson started against the Dash 2 weeks ago at Providence Park in a 1-0 Houston win. She comes off the bench now for Mana Shim. Mana Shim taken in the expansion draft by Houston, traded back to Portland within a week, and she has really thrived this season in a World Cup year. Mana Shim, 3 goals, 3 assists in 8 starts. Last season, no goals, 2 assists in 17 games, 4 starts.
And Shim was not acquired by the Thorns in the draft or any allocation. She actually came through open tryouts and then signed as a free agent right before the first season started.
Allie Bailey relieves pressure back to Ella Masser. Masser away from Sarah Jackson, the substitute. Good cut back by Masser. Axon. Forward ball, didn't get a lot on it. A hospital ball of sorts. McCarty slow to get up. Now a dangerous break possibility here for Portland. Io cuts in against Nikki Cross. Inward alley long. Good work by McDonald to track back against her old team. Cycles wide. Hannah Terry, the substitute. Good block by LaPont. Terry's second effort couldn't clear Tony Presley. 85th minute, no score. Zerboni. Van Hollebeck. And now Hannah Terry once again. Jackson turning. Presley does well once again. Zerboni will switch. Not as far as she wanted. Thumping clearance by Ella Masser. Johnson. Good win by Axon against Allie Long. Back to Bailey. 3 versus 3 if it's on. Good ball, Bailey towards Ojai, but good defending by Van Hollebeck. And again, the offside flag comes up. So Ojai must have been offside as the flag came up, but Bailey, a good idea on that switching ball.
I love the reaction of the crowd.
Yeah, I think the referee got it right. It looked like Ojai was a step past Van Hollebeck at the backside. That's a tough decision for the referee so far away from her view, but I think a good decision.
And the fans might not have seen the moment of offsides because Jess had the ball when they blew the whistle. That wasn't her, it was Ojai.
Near side referee, Veronica Perez, Francisco Bermudez on the far side. It's fun to say their names when they get the call right as well, not just when they get it wrong. Axon. Pass Bailey. Ojai, good footwork, puts in Bailey. Bailey cuts inside. And good defending by Kendall Johnson, but a throw in here for the dash.
What's that phrase you used in the opener, Matt? Shake and bake?
The shake and bake.
The shake and bake.
Popular in Talladega, can be used here in Houston. And Jess McDonald set for the long throw-in. 87th minute, can the Dash steal this one late? Targeting Ojai, it bounces, Bailey at the back post! Is just beyond her. And now a good move by Bailey, strong challenge. And the Thorns clear the dangers. Zerboni behind the play down. And now back to her feet as Io tries to run it down against Presley. What a moment that would have been. Bailey, just 6 days after her first professional goal, nearly a winner, but it just bounced too far over her. Here's Long, great run from her. Long wide right, but the run stopped on the far side. Long saying, why did you stop? To the substitute Sarah Jackson. She was in. Long did all the work, but then I think Jackson thought she might be offside if she kept running. Masser over the top. Headed backward by Menges and picked up by Betos. Looks like another substitution forthcoming for Portland. Alyssa Kleiner, who started against Houston back on May 23rd. And now the flag up once again on Io. And the Dash will be able to restart after the substitution. So Kendall Johnson will come off. Kleiner is on, Las Vegas native, played at Santa Clara. Tonight's her 4th appearance. And she is another of these amateur call-ups. Might we have a 5th 1-0 score line between the Dash and the Thorns? The previous 4 between these teams have all ended 1-0 in their 2 years as NWSL foes.
But I don't believe any of them had a goal this late. And only once has the Dash had a 0-0 scoreline, and that was at Chicago last year. They've never had a 0-0 at home.
McCarty, good ball towards Ojai, but Ojai couldn't settle under heavy duress. Emily Menges was right in her hip pocket. And now Michelle Betos will slow things down. A tie would move the Dash to 10 points. Portland would climb to 9 on the season. Now the Thorns gain a corner kick. Sarah Jackson I'll leave it for Allie Long. Long, 4 goals, 2 assists this season. 90th minute corner kick for Portland Thorns FC. Everyone back for Houston, all but 2 forward for Portland. Driven, back post. Io got to it, but couldn't get much on it. The outstretched leg of Io. And cleared away by the Dash. Throwing now to Houston on this near side. I would think 3 or 4 minutes of time will be added on. There's been a few small injuries, a few substitutes. Masser throws it in. Bailey battling. And 2 minutes. Well, less than I thought. 2 minutes will be added on. So, not a lot of time for either team to find a winner. Long over the top. More frustration for her towards Sarah Jackson as Long talks to their head coach Paul Riley. Cross forward. Bailey has Ojai to her right. Ojai looking for runners. Pulls it back, 1 against 2. Ojai towards the end line. And good defending again, Emily Menges. She's had a very good shift tonight, especially late on. Long going over the top. Too far for Sarah Jackson, but we'll watch it out with nearly 1 minute gone in stoppage time. We're supposed to have about 2 minutes. Thrown in Masser. We'd love to see the Dash throw some bodies forward. Part of a big 3-game sequence. Home tonight, home on June 20th against Western New York, then on the road before the second real half of the season begins. Good win that time by Hannah Terry. Break is on for the Thorns. Might be the last sequence of the game. Terry could not keep it down on either that shot or a cross.
And if the score stands, Matt, this will be 4 unbeaten in a row for the Dash, which would set a club record. It would also mean that Portland's unwinning streak continues.
Yeah, they'd be winless in 6, but a draw on the road.
That's got to be better than their last 3 losses.
Yeah, in these conditions, I think Paul Riley would take it. Closing seconds here. Might the Thorns have one last push? Long towards the corner. Io can run it down, but Brush pushes it out. Referee not checking her watch. Now she does. She'll let them play on. Allie Long. Service. And it's Bianca Henninger. Dangerous ball. It bounced inside the 6, just a bit beyond Sarah Jackson. Long's been targeting Jackson almost the entire time Jackson's been on the field, and there is our full-time whistle. So a game that had a little bit of everything but a goal. A missed penalty, good saves from both goalkeepers, and in the end, 2 teams that like to play low-scoring games end 0-0. Final thoughts on this one, Jen Cooper?
Well, we wanted the goals, but we kind of sensed it might be a pretty tight night, and it was, just not in the way that we had seen previous Thorns Dash matches where it was Thorns dominating and Dash holding on. I think the Dash showed some teeth in the second half.
So both teams will take a break from league play. They'll resume June 20th after the league-mandated Women's World Cup break. We'll take a break. We'll have a brief accompanying
Dynamo Banking, featuring debit and credit card options that help you reach your goals. Compass.com/Dynamo. And in banking.
Uniquely mapping a patient's brain to remove tumors without damaging healthy tissue. Navigating a patient's heart in real time with unprecedented accuracy. And visualizing facial reconstruction before the first incision. Seeing better so we can heal you better. That's the difference between practicing medicine and leading it. Houston Methodist, leading medicine.
He's done just about anything else.
From the first time the ball hit the back of the net, we could feel a sport on the rise. Our passion burning, our tradition building, our city united. Amongst a sea of orange, we are the home field advantage. We began, we will remain, forever orange, forever one.
Learn soccer the Dynamo way and start your path to the pros. The Houston Dynamo offer youth programs for every age and skill level, from a challenging introduction to soccer to intensive competition training and opportunities to play for the Dynamo Academy.
This is Ricardo Clark of the Houston Dynamo. The Dynamo youth programs offer the professional environment required to develop your game and prepare you for success.
To find out more or to register for Dynamo youth programs, visit HoustonDynamo.com.
Back here at BBVA Compass Stadium in Houston, Texas. Final score, it's the Houston Dash nothing, the Portland Thorns nothing. Welcome back to the broadcast booth with Jen Cooper. I am Matt Peterson. Jen, that game had a little bit of everything, chances, big saves, a lot of collisions, but in the end a scoreless draw.
Right, and we've only seen a scoreless draw once previously in Dash history, last year at Chicago. Never seen it at home. An important point for the Dash, regardless. It's always been such a close game with the Thorns, so I know Randy's got to be somewhat pleased to get that point.
I know we were working to get Tony Presley, and if she is available, we will speak with her. Let's go to the highlights first. Jumping the gun a little bit. We're so anxious to talk to Tony. Let's get right to our second half highlights of this scoreless game. Early on, Henniger, an easy save on Zerboni. Then Ojai, good service, flicked on Brush, and then a big collision with Betos and Presley. And then big decision for the referee, a penalty awarded as Henderson was pushed over from behind. Ojai struck it really well. That's a great save. Michelle Betos got over early, really jumped the gun, and made the big save. And then big service from Ella Masser. Easy save, Betos. Bad turnover, Rachel Axon. Bailey forward, the flag stayed down, and a huge miss that time from Io. And then Bailey, rally long over the top. And that was the final play of the game. A claim for Bianca Henninger. And now we should be ready on the field with Tony Presley. Her fourth start with the Houston Dash and her second clean sheet. So, Tony Presley, can you hear us?
Yes, I can.
All right, Tony, congratulations on a clean sheet.
Thank you.
For me, the big storyline was watching you and Ellie Brush deal with Io, the Equatorial Guinea native. She seemed to walk that fine line going off your shoulder and Ellie's. On the whole, how do you think you did against her?
I think we did a pretty good job. I mean, we got a clean sheet. She's a great player, definitely someone you have to keep track of at all times, and I think we did a really good job managing her.
Now, it's been a pretty hot week for Houston. We're beginning to see what we call summer, and tonight was probably the hottest game that Dash has played at home. How do you manage training in that heat and also tonight playing in that heat?
Just keeping hydrated, lots of fluids, making sure I'm refilling at halftime with some kind of food, just trying to really take care of my body and keep on top of that.
Finally, Tony, a week off from NWSL play. You're back on June 20th against the Western New York Flash. You're right on the edge of the playoffs right now with the point. What did you take from this performance, and what can the Dash build upon with a few new players involved and a clean sheet at home?
I think we can take away from this game, that we are getting points. I think that's major at this stage, and I think we need to get as many points as we can while our national team players away. I'm really proud of the team's performance tonight to come away with 1 point. I think we were a bit unfortunate not to come away with 3. We had 2 good opportunities that I think that should have been put away, but credit to Portland. They're a very good team, and I think we were a bit unlucky tonight.
Well, thank you, Tony. Enjoy the early stages of the Women's World Cup and some well-deserved time off. Well, we'll wrap things up here from BBVA Compass Stadium. Jen, Any thoughts on the group stages of the Women's World Cup?
It's going to be a great 2 weeks. While NWSL is resting, we have so many games to watch. After tonight, I think there's still 34 first-round games to watch for the Women's World Cup, and I'm looking forward to every single one of them.
2 tomorrow. The U.S. gets underway on Monday, and then Canada will have their second group stage game in a few days. For Jen Cooper, I'm Matt Peterson. The final score from BBVA Compass Stadium. Chances aplenty for both teams, but a goal was just not meant to be. Final score. Actually, let's take a quick look at the final stats. 12 shots for the Dash, 10 for the Portland Thorns, and we'll get out of here from the Bayou City. Final score, the Dash nothing, the Thorns nothing.